Hello and welcome back to BannerKings, and we're here on the domain hierarchy screen because I just want to show you that I actually did, in the end, claim the other title. Someone actually mentioned this in the comments, and I was like, oh, really? That's cool. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it, because that comment mentioned that if I claim this, and I'm talking about this one here, I didn't know that I could actually take two, you see, that's the thing. So I was basically just thinking to myself, I'm going to take the highest ranking one, and then anything else is just a bonus, right? But this is obviously going to make a huge difference to us in general. And, oh, that engine. Oh, okay, yeah, never mind. That's what happens when you live next to an extremely busy road. Anyway. They didn't have, well, they did have roads here, a little bit, kind of, but they don't have really, really loud motors. They just have horses and neighing and stuff like that. But yes, anyway, I'm getting off topic. The point is, I didn't know you could claim two of these, so thank you very much for letting me know that I can indeed claim two, and this is going to make it a lot easier for me to govern over our town, apparently. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was going to make it easier. So that's nice. That's great. I'm very, very pleased and thankful that someone told me that, because otherwise we may have been in some problems. Anyway, I basically went on a bit of a pilgrimage, and I make it sound much grander than it actually was, because basically all I did was I went and I just got some wood. That's it. I just got some wood, and I got some clay, and I got some iron ore as well. And basically all we're going to do is, and some tools. And I'm basically just going to put some tools in here. And where's the clay? Where did I, what, did I already put the clay in here? No, there it is. What? Why do I only have 32? Do we actually use clay as I move around and stuff? Okay, if I use clay while I'm moving around, I'm going to lose a huge amount of morale now, because I basically just put that in there. But you need clay to be able to build things. And as you can quite clearly tell, we're actually building some mines at the moment, because that was pretty cheap. It only required a little bit of tools and some hardwood. I did actually want to build Fairgrounds rank 2, but that requires quite a bit more. That requires, I think, 30 clay or something like that, and a bunch of wood, a lot of wood actually, and we didn't have that much at the time. So yeah, bit of an issue. But thankfully, mines, as you can see, that is actually going to be done in 11 days. It's going to get us a little bit of extra construction. I don't know. I don't know about you, and I'm not going to go on a huge tangent here, because I know, I do tend to do that quite often. But yeah, as we're journeying over to our new enemy, the Northern Empire, I'm going to just talk about this real quick. So basically, the way that I see it when it comes to town improvements and management and things like that is whenever I see an upgrade or something like that, I always think to myself, you know what would be really cool? If I had a significant impact from that particular improvement. I'm not talking about, you know, giving me an insane, you know, advantage if I have this improvement over if I don't have the improvement, but I'm talking about just having whole numbers, just literally just whole numbers, because as it stands right now, many of these improvements that we're seeing, you know, in the town management menu, obviously BannerKings is taking a bit of a leaf out of the base game, because they don't want to stray too far away from the balancing and all that stuff. But I feel like they could have. I think they could have taken that chance. I think it would have actually been for the benefit of the game itself. And as I say, maybe I'm thinking too radically right here, but from my perspective, I personally, and this is obviously very much preferential, it could be, you know, it could be something that you don't really like, could be something that someone else really loves. You know, it's all very, very personal preference here. But from my perspective, I think that these increases, these improvements, could be so much more fun and satisfying to build. Because if you think about how it is right now, you think about these, you know, some of these things are so... Well, I don't want to be harsh, but it is in the base game, basically. The base game is the main issue here, right? So, I'm going to say it. They're a bit boring, you know? They're a bit boring. Some of the improvements are quite boring in the way that they act. And that's, you know, that's nothing to do with BannerKings, as I say. That's nothing to do with BannerKings at all. I'm just going to have to get rid of a couple of people, because otherwise I'm going to end up losing quite a few of the high-tier troops. Maybe. But yeah. The improvements right now are not really looking super fun. And that's the reason why I think, for me personally, I would have liked it if they just changed it to be a whole number. Just a whole number, as in, if you build this improvement, and we just, apparently, because an army actually took over the siege, so I had no control over it, we're gonna just go straight on in here without any siege equipment, apart from a battering ram and a siege tower. Which I think is probably a mistake, but it's not, I can't do anything about it, can I? No, I can't do anything about it at all, so this is going to be quite funny. Thankfully, we do outnumber the opponent dramatically here, so we shouldn't have the worst time ever, but I can best bet that we're probably going to be having some kind of issue, because there's a catapult, as you can see. And, oh, okay, oh, it actually avoided hitting any of us. That's pretty lucky. That's pretty lucky. Anyway, as I said, basically it would be really cool if we could just make it so that... Oh wow, that's nice. Oh, this is going to make things very easy for us right now. Yeah, but anyway, as I said, it would be super nice if we could actually make it so that our improvements wouldn't just give us 0.5 here, and then 1, and then 1.5. I feel like it would be so much more impactful and satisfying if the improvements would just give 1, 2, 3, and that's it. You know, that would be a lot more interesting, a lot more, you know, a lot more beneficial. And obviously, as if you're working in whole numbers in this case, I mean, I don't know why they did the decimal thing in the first place, in the base game, that is, because I feel like I don't know, it just kind of complicates things for no real reason, because from my perspective, I don't really care that much if I lose, you know, 0.2 here or there. You know, 0.2 is literally nothing in the grand scheme of things. But in the case of, you know, if you lose 0.2 loyalty, you're going to have to deal in these decimals, and it's so annoying, you know? It's it feels bad to have to deal with such minuscule numbers in comparison to, you know, maybe gaining an improvement or indeed seeing some kind of disadvantage that gives you, I don't know, -2 security, for example. And then another upgrade gives you +5 security, and so on and so forth. You know, these things just make so much more difference in the way that the game actually feels. Because obviously, let's face it, you know, why do you play the game, right? Why do you play the game? Because you want to have fun, right? I mean, that's why I play the game. You know, I want to have fun. But the point is, these kinds of upgrades, the 0.5s and the, you know, the very small benefits here and there, they kind of sap the enjoyment for me personally. Just because I really don't appreciate. Whoa, that's a lot of people over there. I really just don't appreciate such minuscule changes, because I just killed my surgeon. Okay, he's not going to be pleased. He is not going to be pleased. He's gonna come to me after this, and he's going to say, you know, Barney, it's not a very good idea for you to kill the surgeon, considering I look after all your troops. and Barney's going to be like, oh, that's not my fault, you know, because it's someone's controlling me, and then the surgeon's gonna be like, what? Someone's possessing you, sir? That is exactly what's happening. Unfortunately for Barney, because let's face it, you know, I'm the one that's controlling him, and he has no say in the matter, unfortunately. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being in that actual situation, in a real situation, being possessed by some otherworldly force to do something? And then you end up, I don't know, doing something hilarious like that. where you know, I'm not going to go into it any further because there have been, you know, real cases of that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's actually just do some damage with the firebombs here. But yeah, anyway, basically the bottom line is that I personally would like to see much more impactful improvements in both ways. You know, it doesn't have to be only benefits. It can also be disadvantages as well. But I just think that would make things so much more straightforward and a little bit, as I say, a little bit more satisfying when you finally get that upgrade built. Because whenever I build a fairgrounds, for example, and I get, you know, 0.5, I get 0.5 loyalty, I just think, yeah, that makes a bit of a difference, you know, it makes a bit of a difference, but it doesn't really do much, and it kind of makes me not very, you know, it doesn't really pay off a good amount, and that's what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, we're now done with the siege. This is nice and easy. We obviously came in here with an allied army, and actually it helped us out quite a great deal. And we ended up losing basically no troops from my own army, which is pretty nice. 35 renown and 45 influence. I was just, you know, that's okay. You know, that's a pretty standard amount right there. And we're otherwise just going to be taking some prisoners. Funnily enough, I actually have quite a lot of prisoners from the Jaroya, and I have been converting them to my party. Because I'm wanting to get quite a few of the firebombers, but the funny thing is about getting those firebombers, it may in fact be a net loss, as in it may in fact make us weaker in the grand scheme of things. And I'm not going to go into that, but I am going to just say that the main reason why that might be, why is this guy actually wanting to fight me? Are you serious? Does he really want to fight me? We could potentially fight him, but yeah, anyway, the main reason why that might be is because of the lack of a melee weapon, or in actual fact, any other backup weapon for our, you know, for those troops. Because they're literally just gonna, they're gonna use all their firebombs relatively quickly unless they have a decent amount of throwing skill. Maybe they have, you know, perks that actually provide them with additional, additional ammunition, additional resources to use. And I don't think, I'm not sure if they do. I'm not sure if they do, but if they do, then that's obviously great. But once they've used their firebombs, they're basically useless. They are pretty much just, you know, walking sacks of meat on the battlefield. And they don't do anything else. So if they're not going to be valuable, if they're not going to provide any kind of value, any kind of benefit to the army as a whole by using their firebombs, there basically is no point in having them in the army to begin with. So that's a huge deficit right there. Obviously, there's a massive benefit, of course. There are, quite a few benefits to having them, because they do have the potential, and this is obviously a pretty big word to use here, but they do have the potential to kill huge amounts of troops if they can hit at the exact right moment, which is, for the AI, maybe a little bit of a tough thing to do. So that's obviously a bit of a problem. I'm going to have to actually... Wait a minute. What is my mouse wheel doing right now? Can you please not break? Thank you very much. Okay. Did you see that? I literally unequipped my shield. That is probably not the best idea. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's do some damage with our dagger on horseback. Yeah, that is not the best idea. No. Oh no, this is bad. This is literally like going into a jousting tournament with a kitchen knife or something. That is terrible. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna have to use my firebombs here to try and affect the battle in some way, because there's no way I can do damage to these lancers. It's gonna be very, very hard for us. Okay, here we go. We can do some damage here. I've got enough of these things, so I might as well just toss them wherever I can, really. And if I do some damage, then that's all I can really ask for. And boom, we're doing some nice damage right now. Unfortunately, some of them are not actually exploding. Seems like some of them explode and some of them misfire. Maybe there is actually a misfire system in place or something like that to prevent them from being too overpowered. I'm not entirely sure. But we did actually end up killing 56 only. Oh, alright, okay. It actually seemed like a lot more, but apparently not. Apparently not. Anyway, our charge damage is looking pretty nice right now, and one thing I actually wouldn't mind doing is actually looking out for another one of those banners that actually increases charge damage and making myself the leader of the, maybe the horse archers or something like that, because we already have someone obviously that is leading the cavalry, and he already has that banner. But I'm thinking that maybe what we could do is, if we use horse archers, maybe we could make it so that, you know, the ones that we're using are actually relatively good in melee as well, and then we could have a huge rolling thunder kind of charge unit that is capable of doing massive damage with just charge attacks. But, well, that very much depends, because as I say, you know, if we have a lot of these Giroya, you know, cavalry units that use firebombs, they are almost certainly going to be tagged as horse archers, and it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to do any kind of charging. So that's a bit of a problem. But as you can see right here, look at me, I'm just charging through these guys, and they take some pretty good damage. Look at this, 26, 26, 18, 15, not bad at all. Obviously, I'm moving pretty slowly now, so I'm not getting that much here, but we can do some damage with our dagger. 69 damage. There we go. Can we get a thrust on this guy? No. Yeah, it's for some reason, the grain, the wheat here, is playing havoc with my eyes. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm having some kind of weird issue there where I just can't see the people, even though they're right there. I know they're right there, but I just can't judge the distance. Because in the previous episode, we were doing pretty nicely, you know? We were doing pretty nicely with our little dagger. Can I kill this guy? Yep. Nice. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. That's what I'm saying. That is exactly what we want to do. This is actually, you know what? That gives me a bit of an idea. Huh. Okay. Maybe that's what we want to do. In the future, maybe what we want to do is we want to immediately, and I'm not talking about any of my forces right now, we ourselves want to immediately run over to where the enemy's leaders are and just firebomb them. Just bomb them as soon as possible and take them out. That's going to inflict a huge amount of morale damage, which obviously is, you know, as you know, or as you may or may not know from, you know, what I've spoken about in the past, is one of my favorite ways to win battles. Morale damage. And there are a number of perks in the game, actually, that do capitalize on this. I think I have one at the moment, and I think I might actually want to respec that, because the one I have at the moment, I believe, is the mounted melee one. The melee one is not going to be that useful for me right now. I actually took the melee one because I was using my spear almost all the time. But nowadays, I'm obviously using my firebombs a lot more often, and I'm using my dagger when I'm on foot in a siege. So that actually kind of makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So maybe I do want to actually respec that, because if you take a look at, I think it's writing skill, isn't it here somewhere? Yep, there it is. So yeah, Thunderous Charge, plus 20% battle morale penalty to enemies with mounted melee kills. That is absolutely useless for me right now. So instead, I should probably be taking Annoying Buzz. This would make so much more sense. Plus 20% battle morale penalty to enemies with mounted ranged kills. And I'm pretty sure that my current weapons, I'm pretty sure they count as ranged. So that's probably going to be the thing I'll do. So I'm going to go to Amitatis right now, and I'm going to respec. Let me see here. Right, this guy's got literally nothing with us, so I'm going to have to vote for him. massively in actual fact. Oh yeah, by the way, I did actually level up. I don't know when I leveled up, but I did level up and I gained a focus point and an attribute point. And I've already spec'd these points. I did that off screen because I was playing a little bit off screen and I kind of wanted to just make sure that I had benefits from it if and when I needed them. So basically what I did was I just spec'd 1 point into control skill, and then I spec'd another point into charm. And that's basically it, because charm was pretty much at its dead end, and I wanted to try and benefit from that just a little bit as we progress forward here. Because otherwise I'm going to be at a complete dead end, and it's going to be super, you know, unsatisfying. And, you know, I always like to gain skills if I can, because that's always the fun part, in my opinion at least. I actually really find that quite fun. Anyway, let's see what I can do here. I do want to sell quite a few of our prisoners. Want to make sure that we don't sell anyone too good. Now, the question is, do we want to keep the Marines, or do we want to keep... I mean, they've got thrown weapons, and these guys have thrown weapons, but these guys have spears and swords, but the Marines do not. Right. Okay, what about the... can I see their stats? There we go, there we go. Okay, 120, 120. And aha, that's the difference. Okay, so these guys are obviously much better in terms of versatility, I guess, because they are going to actually have the ability to defend themselves with polearms, which I personally prefer quite a bit. So I'm going to get rid of the Marines here, and then we are otherwise just going to be running around with these guys. You can see here that we have actually quite a few prisoners, which is definitely slowing us down quite dramatically, but what else can I do? You know, we kind of have to make those calls here and there, because otherwise I'm gonna have maybe a bit of a troublesome time. Anyway, we're just gonna sell the silver ore here. That's another 10,000. I'm gonna keep our wine. Let's get rid of grain. We have a lot of grain right now. Way too much grain. Let's sell some of the eggs. We've got a lot of beer. I actually purchased a huge amount of beer because I wanted to make sure that I had enough to increase my morale, and now I'm having issues with other kinds of morale problems, like for example textiles and things. I always forget what textiles actually are in the game, what kind of textiles actually count. That's what I'm talking about here, you know, because like, yeah, sure, linen, silk, and I think flax is counting as a textile, right? So yeah, the question is, where do we get flax from? Because it's certainly not here, unfortunately. Anyway, we can actually sell all of this stuff. How much do you think we're going to get? This particular marketplace has 861,000 remaining. Let's see how much we get. Okay, not bad, not bad. Look at that. That's just from the armor as well, by the way. Okay, so we've got some throwing pots here, but these are of course not explosive. I don't think there are any others. Bear in mind, if I do find another... wait a minute. Do they have some fire pots here, actually? Gonna see if they do. Because if they have any more fire pots, I might go for a bit of a... Ooh. They actually do. Alright, I'm gonna go for a pretty risky maneuver here. This might be a huge mistake, but I'm going to try it out. This is locked, so this is not going to get sold. Don't worry, it's not going to get sold. And I think, you know what? I'm going to leave my dagger on. I'm not sure if I want to use a two-handed, because I have really bad two-handed skill. I only have... How much? 32. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I mean, that's the thing. We have 32 two-handed skill. How fast do you think I can level up two-handed skill? That's the question. Not sure. Not sure. Yeah, that's the thing. We could always respec our one-handed skill tree as well. I already have duelist, I think. Don't I? Gonna just keep the Swadian Fine Bill because I think that could actually be an extremely good two-handed for us. As you can see, it's a two-handed axe. So it might be really, really good for us to use. So I'm just going to sell the rest. And there we go. We're getting 451,000. Pretty nice. Not too bad. I mean, I obviously don't need the cash. But there are quite a few things that are draining us of funds at the moment. So it's maybe a good idea. Anyway, where did I get my... where did I get this? Where did I get the extra space? Because I saw that I had 467. Is it because I have a higher rank now, or lacking weapon supplies? Do I need weapons, actually? Do I need weapons to actually make this work, or what's actually going on with that? Okay, apparently I do. Okay, that's interesting. I had no idea that you needed weapons, actually, as a part of the sort of like passive benefits that you may need or not need in some cases. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, this has 775 in terms of people in the garrison here. I think we might be able to do it if I can bring the walls down. That would obviously be pretty fantastic. However, it is a bit of a gamble. This is a bit of a gamble, mostly because I'm not entirely sure if the enemy is around here, if they have a pretty large army, because let's face it, the Northern Empire is basically on the exact same level as our current faction. And so they may, in fact, be able to field an army that is capable of attacking us. So, yeah, let's be a bit mindful, shall we? Well, there he goes. I'm not entirely sure what's even going on with this Borean right now, but he's traveling on to Varagos Castle, so he obviously assumes that I'm gonna be perfectly fine to take this by myself. I'm not sure if I agree with him on that. For me personally, I think that this is probably going to be a pretty harsh experience. I have all the walls down, as you can see. Unfortunately, the enemy has still 770 troops. They're going to have like 767 after I destroy this catapult. Yeah, 768. They actually gained one for some reason. Don't know how they even did that, but yeah, they did. Otherwise, we are just going to get all these trebuchets away, and then we're just going to go straight on in. I know someone actually mentioned maybe it would be an idea to build some fire catapults. However, from my perspective, I'm not sure if I want to spend more time doing that. I think it's probably going to be a maybe a good idea. I don't know, because they're probably going to do a lot of damage. I also bear in mind I don't have a shield now, so this is a big risk. But it does mean that I can be a bit more liberal with my firebomb usage, which enables me to do things like this, which is really, really dumb, but it's fun. It's fun to do it. It's absolutely hilarious to do that kind of thing. I've just literally used 8 of these. Actually, more than that. I've used 9 of these now, so that's actually hilarious. Can we actually do some over here as well? That would be funny. Yes, we can. Okay, come on now. Let's get him. Let's get him. Let's get him dead. Let's get him dead right here. Okay, I'm taking some damage, obviously, as you might expect. Let's try and get all these guys out of the way. And how are my forces doing? Are they actually coming in or not? Because it feels to me like they're actually just standing back there, basically doing nothing. But maybe they will actually do something. I'm just going to try and kill some of these guys in the back here, even if it means killing my own people. Because that's just... that's just how it's gonna have to be. I'm sorry. I'm getting carried away here right now, mostly because I'm having fun. Alright, here we go. Wait a minute. I think we're good. No, I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay. If there are any more reinforcement waves, now would be a good... Oh, hello there. They're actually spawning in a pretty nice position. This is actually much more believable than actually them spawning straight on top of us. I wonder whether this has been changed in BannerKings where they actually spawn, because as I was talking about in a previous episode, the spawn locations are really important for immersion and things like that. So it would actually make a lot of sense for them to spawn in a back entrance or back alleyway, or you know, somewhere off to the side, which isn't right on top of where the attacking forces are, you know, standing, because that makes no sense, does it? You know, for them to appear out of thin air. But Anyway, I'm actually going to get off my mount now. We've used all our firebombs. I have no shield. So this is going to be a bit of a troublesome situation potentially. I'm actually just going to jump off here. I'm way too deep in there. Need to make a little bit of a... Oh, wait a minute. What was that? Did you see that? Okay, that was a bit weird. All right, let's let's hope I don't get stuck. Ah, that would be the next thing, wouldn't it? Literally. That would be the next thing. Okay, no, we're otherwise fine. Look at that. 238 damage. That's insane. Look at that. Really, really nice. And yeah, we're actually not doing too badly. Yeah, I think this might be the play. I think this particular setup might be the play. We did manage to get 229 kills. That is only thanks to the firebombs, of course. And this is definitely making things a lot more efficient. And we're able to take these pretty nicely, in actual fact. Like it quite a bit. And I'm doing some nice damage with slashes even. Look at this. I'm actually doing 100 damage or so with a slash. With a dagger? What's going on with this? Okay. Wow. I'm surprised. Look at that. These guys cannot beat me off the bat either. There's no way. There's no way they can actually beat a dagger in terms of its speed. So, no matter what happens, I'm always going to be getting kills against these guys. As long as I don't get outnumbered and they don't all focus me at the same time. Because obviously that's the main deal here. What? Wait a minute. Is there an invisible wall? There is a literal invisible wall so that it prevents me from going onto the rooftop. But not on this one. Okay. That's kind of strange. Okay. I wonder, this is definitely a base game thing, right? This must be a base game thing because there's no way. Surely a modding team wouldn't add invisible walls in for any reason, right? Not in a castle like this. I mean, I don't think this is a custom-made castle or anything like that. I don't think so, at least. But I find that super weird. I don't know. Whenever what? I can't walk this way? Oh, okay. That actually kind of grinds my gears actually pretty hard. All of these weird limitations that have been placed on the player in Bannerlord, I don't actually understand why that is. I can understand it if it's a mod that they're trying to make it more difficult by, you know, sort of, shall we say, funneling you down a certain path that they want you to go. Because obviously if they've designed a certain progression of where, you know, they want you to go, for example, because let's face it, maybe it's a custom-made castle, custom-made siege map, and so on and so forth. Maybe there are certain things that you may get stuck on, and as a result, an invisible wall is definitely going to be helpful in that regard. However, you see exactly what happened just here. There was nothing for me to get stuck on. And this is a base game thing. It's nothing to do with the mod, as far as I'm aware, at least. And I am just infinitely perplexed by these kinds of decisions. There must be a reason for it, but I obviously would not know what that is. So that's a little bit strange, because from my perspective, it just absolutely kills immersion so much. Because you saw what I was trying to do there. I was trying to get onto the rooftop so that I could jump down and maybe go and, you know, slay a couple of extra enemies before the end of the siege. But that obviously was impossible because there was an invisible wall, so I'd have to walk around. And that's actually one thing that I think is pretty sad, because the thing is, and obviously invisible walls can be used to prevent death from, you know, falling and various other things that the player might do that are deemed stupid or idiotic or whatever. But from my perspective, I'd rather die from my own stupidity than have an invisible wall. That's literally it, you know? I personally would prefer that. I think that's more fun. I think that's funnier, you know, in general. And I personally prefer it a lot. So anyway, we're actually just going to be, you know, voting for this guy once again. Gyarios. Oh, he's swooping in here and actually taking this from his other two vassals who gained more support. Very surprising indeed, but there you go. He decided to do that. Anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.